So me, I'm there doing my makeup. I'm cleaning lipstick off my teeth and setting up my hair. I'm waiting. And we're rolling. Wow. And this has gone out.
Welcome back to Successful Fuck-Ups. This is season 3.
So there was a day that I was in the studio. There was a shooting near Globe Roundabout. I had to go on air and deliver the news. So I had to deal with what I knew. The reporter on the ground is giving us what he knows.
Yeah.
So you have to be kind of prepared for any eventuality.
How would you distinguish that, being a normal citizen and being a news anchor?
No, I think, and I was very poor at the social media aspect of it. I'll be very honest. I'm like an 80-year-old grandma.
We give ourselves identities based on the things that we do, and we become unable to get unstuck from it.
A Kenyan phrase that lives rent-free in my head. Go sight.
Kata simu.
Welcome back to Successful Fuck-Ups. This is season 3. And wait, is there a music we can cue? No.
We don't have you used to have a bell.
We used to have a bell, but now it's not
I don't know
there.
what happened, but anyway.
But anyway, thank you guys for the messages that you have sent. Thank you for asking us whether we are really going back to what we do. It's been a period, and we are happy to be back. And as usual, we have some of the usual suspects. Mr. Sam Kanja is here with me. Karibu sana.
Habari zenyu. Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
As always, we're going to pretend like we don't talk every day. And of course, today we have an amazing guest who is slightly intimidating because she normally sits on the flip side of this conversation. She's the one who usually is interviewing people. But today we've inversed the role a little bit. Welcome, Malika.
Thank you.
Well, how do you pronounce your name properly?
I've heard many pronunciations of my name. And some people just stick with Malika even if but it's Maalika.
It's Maalika.
Yeah, my uncle decided, let's be unique when they were naming me when I was born. So they did MAA. So, even when I'm saying my name.
It's not Malika,
Maalika,
it's Maalika.
Yeah. So then somebody say Malika. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'm not going to get into it. It's too much. It's too much of a process to explain to every person. Yeah.
Your uncle named you?
My mom's brother, so he was the one who named me when I was born,
Okay. You were named by who? Do you know?
My grandmother.
Okay.
Yes.
So you know?
Yes.
I don't know mine. Me, I know a huge part of our family, people are called James, but me, I was called Jimmy. And I hate it when people say that Jimmy is the short form of James because I don't know which. They are both 5 letters, so I don't know what we are shortening. But anyway, Malika, thank you so much for making time today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And I know, as I said when we were introducing, you're used to being on the flip side of this. And so it might be slightly unusual, but you're obviously very eloquent, and I'm sure we'll have a fantastic conversation.
Thank you.
And we just want to explore a few things based on what we know about you. I think people have seen you on screens. You're not a completely unfamiliar face. And so even as part of the introduction, I was wondering, do I need to really say who it is or who she is? But
it's been a while, though.
Has it?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been reading news, actually, yeah.
Okay. But you've been a face in a lot of homes. People have switched on their TVs and I've seen you as a news anchor. How long when you say it's a while, how long has it been?
5 years.
Oh,
5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you on screen.
Time. Yeah, so the last time that I, was delivering news on screen was 5 years ago.
Okay.
Wow.
Anyway, we'll explore that.
Yeah.
But
I think what is important for this conversation today is people know Malika as a journalist.
Yes.
But what is the journey? How has it been? We want to explore the pivots of that journey, the risk, and all that. So, just for context, so it's not an interview per se.
Yes,
it's a conversation about your journey, and also to see that other side, other than you being a journalist, but also what is that story, right?
Yeah. And so if you're watching this, the whole point of what we want to drive home, hopefully at the end of it, is we tend to box ourselves a lot. But Malika she wears different hats, as you will come to see and learn. But we will explore those as we move. And I think to start us off, one of the things that I was curious about is, when you think about journalism, it's a it's a glamorous job. People love being on screen. I think before phones, the only screens that we were seeing people in were TVs. And of course, you've sat in the chair where your face and voice have been at entering people's homes. And I think the first question I wanted to ask is, what does that actually feel like? Does it feel like power? Does it feel like pressure? Does it feel like both? What is usually going on in your mind at the time?
Honestly, there's so much happening behind the scenes that I would never have a chance to be like, oh, I'm feeling this way about it, you know? Because you've got, let's say, the director in your ear, you've got the prompter, or you've got your notes, or you've got the iPad, and you've really, you've been through the production side of things, you've set the stories, you know what's coming, you're prepared in case there's murmurs of this breaking news might come during your showtime. You've thought about the interviewer that you're having on the show, you've talked to them, you've made them comfortable. So in my mind, there are all these things happening before we say, okay, you're on. And even during that process. So you're very much present in that moment. And I think I kind of like that, the bubble, the cocoon of a studio. You feel like all the elements are controlled.
Okay.
Whereby, of course, when you're on the ground reporting, it's very different. But when you're in there, that's it. There's silence. You're doing what you're doing. There's the adrenaline. I think I used to be more like excited when there were things happening on the fly than anything else.
Okay. And how do you maintain, like you say, there are a lot of elements. There are, how do you maintain the composure? And, you can't be on stage and on screen and things happen. Maybe the production crew fell or something weird happening.
That weird video of that guy who fell.
Yeah, who fell while reading the news. So how do you maintain the composure? And I think we've seen bloopers of news and things happening. And
frankly, you don't have a choice. You're there. So no matter what happens, you keep rolling, especially if it's live and if it's news. There was a time, and I think this was like perhaps a F-up moment for me. And it was like, I think my first or second week on the job. Okay. And I don't know whether or not the earpiece was not connected or something, and I didn't hear the director say, we're on air. So I'm there doing my makeup, I'm cleaning lipstick off my teeth, I'm setting up my hair, I'm waiting. And we're rolling.
Wow.
And this has gone out.
So there are people watching at that specific time.
Yeah.
Is it a super serious environment? Like, you see ours here, I don't say we are not serious people. Nobody can see behind these cameras. But how is it a very strict, serious environment? Do you guys goof around? Is it a...
Yeah, behind the scenes, it's very relaxed. Like, we're talking, we're chatting, we're discussing the story of the day or, what's happening now. It's very relaxed behind. But once things start to roll, everybody has to be on top of it. The guy in the production studio rolling the prompter, who used to be Kefa, I remember him so distinctly, the director in your ear, the production guy sitting in the back end, you're here, the guy, the camera operator, then now it's business, you're there on it. And then everybody is just so timed. I think I realized the value of each second when I did that job. And before that with radio as well, because there is so much you can do in 10 seconds. They can come change a whole battery pack for you, in 10 seconds. So yeah, it's fluid when things are like that. And there's so much synergy. Because if you can imagine, if the director didn't tell me I'm on air and I'm doing all these things and it's going out, actually to even quote that back, after that happened to me for the first time in my second week, I was always alert after that. It became ingrained in me. When I see a camera,
we noticed.
I'm ready. So yeah.
Okay. So now the whole journalist space, I think like right now, we are seeing journalists like Larry, Mado, and being under very heavy fire for being the teller of very uncomfortable, sometimes very uncomfortable truths. Now, as someone who watches that, and when we watch that, we see it from the outside. But of course, when you look at it from the mind of someone who's been in that space and environment, and who understands that world. Tell us what is it about? Because I feel like as a journalist, you sometimes have to deliver, as I said, uncomfortable things. I don't know whether you guys go through therapy. I imagine if it's never. I don't think there was ever a time when I've seen news and it's just good news. It's always things that I may not be very comfortable. So how do you? What's your perspective of what do you think? What is he going through when these
What
things are
happens
happening?
after the news?
I mean, he is the epitome of Kenyan journalist gone global. You know, he's brilliant. And he is somebody even, obviously, journalists we look up to because of the kind of arch he's had in his career, the successes, the fact that he's always on the ground when something so relevant is happening on the continent, across the continent. So that's one. Now, him in particular, I wouldn't be able to speak, let's say, to what his coping mechanism is. But for like with any journalist, there is constantly this barrage of information coming at you. You're constantly sifting through so much. You're constantly researching. So you're speaking with facts. You're always being told different things. You're looking at different perspectives. You're working to be unbiased. You're working to be as, impartial as possible. Give people all the details. Be clear. So all of these things are going through your mind. Now, at the end of the day, when you've delivered so many things, your mind is just, it's like it needs downtime. There's so much chatter, so much buzz. You go to sleep knowing the updates, you wake up seeing updates. So again, that's like a very tricky part of it, which people don't see. Because you cannot be caught on air without knowing some of the leading stories and their facts. Even when you have breaking news, you have to be so careful that you're not delivering things that are opinions. Okay, let's say there's something as dire as a shooting in this area. So there was a day that I was in the studio, there was a shooting near Globe Roundabout. I had to go on air and deliver the news. So I had to deal with what I knew. The report on the ground is giving us what he knows. So you have to be kind of prepared for any eventuality. So I think at the end of it, my adrenal glands were like shot. They were like, please stop. We're tired, And many different journalists find their own way of coping. Some of them just do no tech days. Some of them don't stop. There's no downtime. And for me, I think the kind of person that I am, I needed that cut-off switch at the end of the day,
Do you think there's, of course, as journalism, how it was, and I know journalism is wide, versus how it is today with the era of social media, AI, and all of those things. What's your take on there are a lot of situations where stories are told, as you said, you have to verify, you have to have facts. I think the lens or the space of journalism has become wider with a lot of people saying they are journalists, but sometimes, can I just be honest and say they are not? News coming from anywhere and everywhere. Is AI, do those things affect you, or how is it changing the space in the way that you see it?
I think there's a rise of citizen journalism because everybody now has access to a lens, a camera. They can shoot, they can give their opinions, they can say this has happened today, and they can talk to experts. And they can also give you more of a context of an event than perhaps the news has given you. So I think it has a very pivotal place. Where I find there might be challenges is now all eyeballs are on the screen. So traditional news watchers are declining. And I think the media industry, the legacy media, is dealing with that challenge. So whether you're talking radio, TV, newspapers, have you seen how thin newspapers are these days?
Yeah, I was going to ask, I mean, that's the other thing, because where is that industry headed according
Exactly. So it's like many experts have their own views. They're the diehards who say we will never be fully phased out as legacy media. And there are those who say you have to adapt to survive. You can't take that view and expect that it's like an ostrich burying its head in the sand. And you can't expect to thrive and keep on going if you're not including digital in your strategy. And I agree that there has to be digital in your strategy now as legacy media. But that's not just, and I read a very interesting LinkedIn article about this recently by somebody who's been in the media space. It's not just, you've taped your broadcast, put it on YouTube, now anybody can go back and watch the story. It's like, how are you adapting for the audience who's watching on their
TikTok,
phone? Yeah, and who has a very short attention span. Like they need to know things now. So you can't be there, now you're watching this.
Okay.
This is what has happened.
Yeah.
Then you go into an interview of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they need snips, they need bites. So it's integration. I think that's the future, integration.
Okay. And how, going back to you as a person, when you're on people's screen, they see you all the time, be it on social media or on TV, a news anchor is a celebrity. You are an opinion shaper. In the normal life, like when you're going to a mall, for example, and people want, how would you distinguish that, being a normal citizen and being a news anchor, and how do you differentiate that with the community and with family? Because, for example, if you are, and we were having this joke that if you are a vet and you go to up country, they will say you are a doctor, and people will come with different issues. I have a headache, but there is a clear distinction. So how do you deal with that?
Like, do you send a voice note? Seriously. This is Malika. No. Are you serious all the time with that? When you're sending when you're on video call, you have to
When I was on the news, no, I think, and I was very poor at the social media aspect of it. I'll be very honest. I'm like an 80-year-old grandma in like this body, It's like, those laggards you learn about in marketing. There's early adopters, then there's the laggards. I am definitely a part of that. So even for me to adapt to constantly putting myself on another screen after all day I've been on one screen, it didn't work for me. And I never consider myself like a celebrity, never. Whether I was when I was on TV or radio, whatever, no. I didn't feel like that because for me, I was a journalist. I was a storyteller from the get-go. So it never felt like that's the part of it that attracted me.
Okay.
And it's fair enough. There's so many people to whom that aspect of it is attractive to. And that's great. I think perhaps it should have been more attractive to me in that phase. But I never felt that way about it. One. And then two, I think dealing with it or just, even in your community, sure, yeah, people might say, oh, yeah, I watched you on this or I heard you on
people
this.
calling you to MC.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice. It wasn't like, it didn't feel alienating or it didn't even feel like it was such an avalanche of people or anything like that. Okay. Yeah. Personally, I never.
And going back to that thing about digital, do you ever feel like we're going to, like in the past, if you wanted to capture some parts of history, you would have like newspapers capturing certain elements and so on and so forth. And we would go and dig into the archives of NTV and whatnot, or whatever media house. In our context right now, as we are focused so much on digital, do you think, is there a part of that that's going to get lost? Or do we even have more to work with? What do you think the future is going to look like when it comes to how news is gathered and how information is stored? And because I think the media plays a huge role in, as you said, shaping opinions. It has played a huge role in capturing sentiments. It has also played a huge role in documenting history.
Media can start a coup. For example, if a coup did happen, the first thing they go is a media house. Even in Kenya, when we had an attempted coup,
in the 80s.
It was through
started
media.
there.
So when these things are changing, like digital is coming and AI is coming, so there was also even this thing of still in digital. Are journalists doing enough research or just using AI? And how do we verify this? There are things like deep what do you call them? Deep fake. So there are a lot of deep fakes, and we've seen all of these things happening in our time. So where you sit and from experience, I think what Jimmy is asking is, what changes should we expect? Or the more things change, the more things remain the same?
I think it's just transforming. It's not, I don't believe one form of media will cease to exist or become extinct. It just has to morph. It has to adapt. And that's happened over time. Before TV, there was radio. Yes. And, people were skeptical about, will this phase out radio completely.
Yeah.
And then there were the newspapers, and then there were blogs. So will newspapers be obsolete? Will magazines be obsolete? And still, we see so many international magazines shutting down year on year, but others are thriving in different markets. You know, this generation, actually, they like even what are those, the gramophone records that you would play? The vinyl.
LPs. The vinyls,
They're
yeah.
into vinyl. You know, they're
And
into...
Sade.
Yeah. So I think things are cyclical.
Okay.
But essentially, let's say what you said, like about the archives. Will we lose them forever? No, because there'll be digital downloadable formats of them. There will be data that's, you know, treasured, archived, kept in a different form. So I just feel it's always transforming. It's always morphing. And if you constantly feel like you're trying to keep up with that, or something is dying, so you need to hop to another industry, it might also confuse you and your path. So there has to be this synergy of like, what is still resonating for you? And then, of course, you look at market trends and you kind of keep up with it. As journalists, and another point with digital, you know, nowadays I have seen a lot of stations are trying to look for people from the digital space to bring them onto legacy because they have the community,
Yeah.
right? They have the following, the build-up and all of that. And on the flip side, journalists are also now expected to have a social media presence many of the time in terms of different companies you work with. For me, I found if you don't adapt, then you're not able to be in the game as much. Like for me, I couldn't adapt so much to that. But there are people who are doing so brilliantly where they are on the news, where they are online, where you're finding them everywhere, and they're pushing the narrative that they stand for. They're being out there. They're constantly being personable. And that takes a lot of work. And I feel like those people are seriously so hardworking. It takes a lot to build a following of a million, 100,000,
People think
even
it's a joke.
20,000.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But you're raising a very important question, and I think there was a debate a while back that are all celebrities journalists? Because someone is famous, all of a sudden they're on radio, they're on TV. But I know for a journalist, you go to school, you learn the ethics and the ethos of media and responsible reporting and all those things. But now we live in an age, like you said, people who have community and followership are journalists. All of a sudden they on radio and all that. Do you think it's something that we need to relook? Or, now, because again, these guys shape opinions, they drive narratives. And then if you're not careful, that anybody who has a followership or who is controversial enough or has certain characteristics can become a journalist, we give them airwaves. So how do you think that is shaping the industry?
I think that it's not as fluent as, one platform to another. It's not automatic. I think in any media organization, there are a lot of levels. So, with radio, your program controller is above and managing your presenters. Above, there's different layers of management from like that. So the flow, there's a chain of command, etc. Which now, of course, with social media, you're not reporting to anyone as such. You're on your page, you're saying what you want. But when you enter such a structure, I know many who will train you, right? Who will sit down with you. And it's not always the case, but I feel that approach works well. And on the flip side, even as journalists who are part of airwaves and things like that, who've been given a platform, who've studied it, etc., when they're trying to now navigate the social channel and build that up, I think having people who guide you is so important. Because if you don't, you're floating. And I think I faced that for sure. That was a big challenge for me. It's like, as a business journalist, I know I'm covering topics about the economy, about finance, about trading, all these things. It can be MSMEs to corporates beyond. But what I'm talking about on my personal channel, hey guys, I'm stuck in traffic. I'm on my way. It's been like 2 hours.
Get ready with me to work.
Yeah, I wish I had that at that point, somebody to brand build me and tell me, let's translate this to your page this way. And I didn't.
So you see a value in both?
I see a value in both, yeah.
Okay. So right now, if someone is in school,
because that was discouraging people.
Yeah.
You have gone to school to study journalism, but someone is made it on social media. They probably did not even go finish their college, but they will get a job that essentially someone who has gone to school should be getting that job.
Yeah.
So, a celebrity journalist, or do we need to say that, I don't know how, like a policy that yes, you're good, you have followership, because it's an issue of clout versus professionalism, in my own opinion. Because you see, someone has gone to school for 4 years to study journalism, and someone made it overnight on TikTok, and they are all of a sudden getting the job that this other person should be getting.
So to be very honest, as a student of journalism, as somebody who studied it, I would love for there to be a kind of channel where everybody got equal chances to be up there. But to the reality of things, we took our ground, to be honest, at the end of the day, even media organizations need money to stay afloat, right? So they're looking at what's bringing numbers because ad spend has shifted. So corporates who are paying the kind of millions to be on a primetime ad spot on TV would rather be using that money towards an influencer, quote unquote, or a creator online who has X amount of followers that they want to reach. So now you're competing against that as well as an organization, as a media house. So you're also kind of in a tough spot. Because if it's a known face already, you have that advantage. That they can bring these many eyeballs. The advertisers know that this can work synergetically. Not to say that that's always the case. It's, has to be a balance.
I guess what it also means is if you are in that position and you're in school and doing all of that, the opportunities for you don't just have to lie with you going to a media house to look for an opportunity. The opportunity now lies in your hands. You can do a lot more than wait. And I guess that's what you're also saying.
Yeah, it's democratized it.
There's
you
something
can create your platform. You don't have to be given one, make yours. And that's not easy.
It's not easy.
Everybody can do it.
Actually, everything is hard. So you just choose whichever hard you want to.
What's your hard,
Yeah.
But also the important point that I've gotten is you need to be relevant. For example, you are an aspiring business journalist. So don't say, oh guys, I'm stuck in traffic, like you said. So you need
please don't do that.
So you need to be also deliberate and oriented toward what you want to be. So you build now that,
with intention.
Yeah.
Is there a story that has ever stuck with you after?
After I've delivered it?
Yeah. Like something that bothered you. Obviously, you get to engage with a lot of things. Is there something that you took home? I know you were doing business mostly.
Yeah.
And was there a choice? Was there a reason behind that choice, or?
It was like, okay, this is where the people who were bringing us on board had fit us into, and so to be honest, when I was told I'm going to be a business journalist, I didn't know much about the distinctions. I didn't know
money markets, all of that stuff.
Yeah, I had studied business in school. I had an interest in it, but not that I would have known each industry, its facets. And that really was the best part of the job for me, was learning. Because as a person, I constantly love to learn. So the research, like today, I might be sitting in the morning interviewing the CEO of a listed bank. In the afternoon, I'm talking to a matatu driver about the BRT system and their reaction to it. And perhaps in the evening, while doing prime time, I may have, a bite about an MSME owner who is in the space in terms of creating furniture. So in a day, I have learned so much, interacted with so many people from so many industries that used to really feel very satisfactory to me. The learning aspect, the absorption of all this knowledge. Yeah.
Okay. So now as you've evolved, obviously, you have been wearing different hats. And one of the things I'm curious about is, was that out of your just curious personality, or is it, do you believe, by the way, that journalism is, or media is sort of like, obviously you've said it's declining in a way. In the way from
I feel like
the
it's transforming. Yeah,
it's transforming. I mean, from the in the traditional sense, the drivers of media houses and so on were advertisers, and obviously as advertising behavior is changing, then the industry gets affected and so on and so forth. So you might say that there has been a decline, but there's also been an uprise in other formats. So in your many hats that you wore, for those that do not know, you went, and maybe you will tell us, you went and took up I think you went for a degree in interior design or something. Was that a thing that you were doing to reinvent yourself, or was that something that you were doing to change the move away from what was sort of like dwindling? Where is that coming from? Is it just coming from a curious nature? Is it just Malika being checking out new stuff?
Impulsive.
Yeah. What was it?
Honestly, the decision to kind of move away from media full time and to go into a different space, it was influenced by so many factors. Like one of them being the resonance I felt with the work I was doing. I felt like I had interviewed and talked to so many entrepreneurs that it felt like, what am I also doing to contribute in a way that's to the world at large through these kind of channels? Because it got me really interested in the entrepreneurial aspect of things. And I'm like, I had ideas. From the very get-go, I knew at some point I wanted to have my own business. So just being in that space was fortuitous for me. It was like, okay, this was fated because now I have a seat with so many brilliant people telling me the kind of things they've done and gleaning knowledge from that as well. But I'm the kind of person who will always go and study something before I get down to it. I would love to do research on it, know what it's about. So even like I said, when they told me I'm going to be a business journalist, I went to a bookshop. I bought a book on markets and I started reading.
Really?
Bullish market, bearish market, all those things. So that I'm not just sitting there cluelessly. I feel like if I've been given the privilege of talking to people about something so important, I need to educate myself first to give them value. That's the perspective I go with. So with interior design, when I figured out, okay, that's a space I might want to explore, I now, as a journalist, you talk to as many sources as you can, gather as much information. So I approached different interior designers in the Kenyan market. I got to know what the field was about in terms of delivery of your services. Is there a market for it right now? Are people taking up, design work? And that's when I made like this informed decision that, I have an interest. There is a marketability to it. Let me pursue it. So I did a certification locally. There's so many great diplomas online that you can do as well. And then now I was like, okay, how do I go about getting clients? So I decided that the first thing I want to do is get a formal setup job. Okay, so I'm looking for jobs. My CV says I've been an anchor, now I'm a designer. So people are like, what's up? How are you doing this? So luckily I was able to work with an established furniture brand here as a design consultant, as a head of design for them. So I had a team under me of like 5 people. It grew to 7 while I did it. So I did that for a good 6 months. Now, I'm seeing what styling looks like, what it takes, how much is involved in it. And then I had a friend whom I was able to go in on a design project with after that. So now this was the first design project. It was in Ruiru. So, I'm driving out there, I'm seeing what's happening. I'm dealing with fundis on site. I'm seeing they've done something here, they've done something there, or, you have to be so hands-on. So
in this market, you
fundis will always be fundi. Whether it's a tailor, whether it's fundi wa mitambo, like here, the crew, they're also fundis. So fundis will always be fundis.
There's always a surprise somewhere.
Yeah, there's a surprise somewhere. So there's a glue stain on this wallpaper. What are we doing about it? This table was bought with these measurements. It's not fitting. You bought it, you've paid for it. What are you doing about it? It was the best kind of learning. And then from there, it pivoted into now I had a client. I worked on a villa for a longer time period. I had a commercial client. I worked on an office space for a tourism company. I had another client, a betting company, which I partnered with another designer on for their offices. So it kind of, had this flow. And I consider myself really lucky and very privileged to be able to have pivoted this way. And I learned so much. That was for me the biggest thing. I've learned, how to talk to a client, how to take them through your program, how to have your invoicing in order, the checkpoints, the project management, the team management. There's so many facets to it. So truly over the last 5 or so years since having pivoted, I have learned so much as a person and grown in many ways, but I'll still find some people be like, why did you leave that? That was a golden opportunity. Why would you leave that?
What do you tell them?
I say, what do I tell them? Let me think. It depends on the person asking, of course. But I think I would say it's okay. That was a phase in my life and I learned so much from it. And then I had so much resonance with this thing and I ran with it. But everybody who leaves media will tell you, you will be back. So when I was leaving, many friends told me, you will be back.
Maybe that's a segue to the surprise we have.
Yeah.
You will be back. It could be a different facet of it. And I did get back this year. I do a morning radio show on a community radio station, which I really enjoy. And so it's never a goodbye with media. You're always morphing. And those skills are so transferable.
Yep.
So, yeah. But for anybody right now in school, studying journalism, like, what we were discussing, I think just be experimental about it. Don't put yourself in a box. Try, practice, even if it's online. And when I was in school, when I was on campus, online was not as, it was there. So I was looking to radio to have that because I had this resonance with it. I liked it. And so I was able to start radio while I was studying. And that really, I pushed myself to ensure I had a foot in before I graduated. And so, it kept flowing. So don't limit yourself. Now you can make your platform and you can do it and speak about the things that matter. Just take the approach you prefer and keep doing it.
You said something then, and I'm curious, like, do you think, has the curriculum changed therefore, if you're doing journalism in school right now, knowing the realities that we are dealing with? Is it something that are we still teaching kids based on the foundations of what we knew as tradition, or has it evolved? I don't know whether you know this or not, or maybe your opinion is, should it change? Because I'm a huge believer that some of these things should evolve as well.
Yeah.
If you're I wonder from an institutional point of view what they're doing to change the content and context of a lot of these things, because you'll produce human beings who are trained for a certain world that has already left, and then you're not really solving the problem.
Yeah.
But then again, you also as an individual are not blameless, because you can also, as you said, because you also said you have to push yourself towards certain things. And the other thing now I wanted to ask is, so there are two. One is, has the curriculum changed? Do you know? Is there something that's taught? And then secondly, when it comes to the question you asked of people asking you, why the hell did you leave? I know it's common. And it's interesting because we sort of derive identities from what we do. My name is, and I.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a solid thing.
We are defined by our titles.
And what I like about yours is that you sort of like didn't box yourself, and it is a completely different world, but I guess your personality still shines in a way on that front too. Is it anything that you expected it to be? Are you having fun? Yes, you've come back to radio, but I'm sure that's a few hours of your day. So those are the two questions I have.
Okay, so I could go in with the second one first, I would say. That conversation of boxing yourself in and the identity attached to your job. I really fought myself a lot before I got to this point. Even before making the choice and telling my managing editor, I'm going or I want to leave. Like, it was a scary moment because there were a lot of deliberation with myself. Some people say, have a meeting with yourself. I had many meetings. Yeah. And I really thought about it because it takes a lot to be given that opportunity. You've worked, that was like the thing you had, the dream job. For me,
it is a dream job.
Yeah, it is.
In fact, kids sit somewhere and do those weird parodies of making fun. So it's a dream job.
Yeah, so it was like, am I kicking something that I'm so privileged to have gotten in the face? Am I doing something so wrong by walking away, even if it was after years? So it really was quite an internal struggle.
How did you quiet that? Because I know there is the fear of the unknown, and we always want to gravitate toward our comfort zone. So nobody likes change. And I think someone said that it's only wet babies that like to be changed. So how did you fight that? Because it's a very important lesson for people who wants to take that leap of faith, but because of comfort, because they already have something going on. So why would you leave? Why would you leave something that you already have going for
The known.
for the unknown, the fear of the unknown?
Yeah.
So how did you fight that? I think that is important for even for viewers to sort of learn from that.
Yeah, emotionally and mentally, I really sought a lot of self-awareness. It was like a whole process of getting to know myself all over again.
Okay.
Now, also, this was like I was 25, 26. So, it was the quarter life crisis period. Your prefrontal cortex develops and you're like, who am I?
Yeah.
So it took a lot of relearning who I am behind the scenes, taking time to do that. And also actionable steps, exploring, talking to people, getting to know what different careers are about or different segments. And I was in a place that I had a lot of knowledge around me. And I was very fortunate for that fact. Even with fellow journalists, and the team that I was surrounded by, just to say, they were brilliant. At whether that was in radio and especially in TV, I don't think there was ever a point where I had a question and it was not answered or I was not helped, even with as busy as a newsroom is. Whether that's with a video editor I'm working with, a producer, a fellow anchor or a reporter, somebody who's at an editor position, I always found a listening ear and help. And so I was in a position that, I was very happy in terms of that and being able to learn from that. So yeah, it's a twofold thing. You feel so comfortable with that environment. But then the job, I had to assess what parts of my job were fulfilling me out of 10. So reporting, anchoring, because nowadays you can't just be an anchor. You can't just be there reading a story. You also have to be a reporter. You have to go out there, get the story, sit, edit the story with... there's so much that goes on behind. It's not glamorous behind the scenes at all.
It's only on the surface.
Yeah. In fact, you work very hard to keep the glamour alive on the screen for your viewer. Behind it, you're working very hard to keep that intact, for them to feel, oh, wow, okay, this is what I know now, and this is how I know it. I've learned what's going on in the news.
I think most people assume that people show up.
Oh, no.
They're given a script.
Yeah.
They do it for an hour.
Yeah.
And then
And I
they blast
understand
off.
why. I understand why, because that's how you want it to look, right? You want it to look effortless, but it takes a lot of effort.
I think people think that even on a news level, people like Mina, who have been on radio for the longest, he's there up to 10. People are like, anafanyanga kazi mpaka saa 4, alafu anaenda. And then he goes home. But people forget the guy is there at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
He still has to read through a lot of stuff before.
And the mental energy.
And the mental energy to be there always on at that period.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Sorry, I cut you short, but you can continue.
No. So basically, I had to really assess. So relearning yourself, assessing where you are, and what are your values. That's a big one. What do you value in the pursuit you are engaged in? Like, is it the integrity of it, the authenticity of it? Is it honesty? What are your values as a person? And they could look very different for each of us, for each human being. So I had to do all that work, and then just having the courage to say, okay, I know now the resonance has shifted. I want to explore something different, and how I want to first study. I want to go into this, and also just talking to people in your life whose opinion really matters in how you make decisions.
Yeah.
So I remember I had this conversation with my mom first. And when I felt she understood, I was like, okay, okay, she gets it, then I'm fine. Because then it didn't, not that it didn't matter who else understood or didn't, but it just felt, okay, if this person or these people in my life get it, then I also feel okay. And you feel more encouraged. And the practical steps, talking, getting more information, knowing your next steps before taking that decision. It was months of, and then it was also COVID. This was like COVID period, end of 2020 vibe. And we had worked through lockdown. And I remember that was the first time in a newsroom whereby there was silence.
People are few, obviously.
Yeah.
People were few. You can't move around. You're doing interviews on Zoom if that's possible. you're working with the channels that are flowing information out. Let's say, CS Kagwe was doing his 3 p.m. These are the numbers.
He used to provide numbers every day, like a polling station. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was also a period of reflection because everything was quiet. And so many people were switching jobs. You were listening to pivots because it's like the world has ended.
Yeah.
Were you doing what you loved? So it was, and was I? So it was like so many factors for me. Yeah. And for institutions, like you mentioned, I know that now with master's programs, there are more digital options as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that helps, that you've studied perhaps the whole legacy media side of it, but you can diversify for your post-grad in things that are now niche to digital. So I think there is adaptation, but still there could be even more. But there are some cornerstones of your undergrad studies for journalism that are so important, like media law.
Yes.
It should not change. That needs to be there. There needs to be ethics, media law and ethics, those kind of classes.
Yes.
And also the place of journalism in the ecosystem. We call journalism the fourth estate.
Yes.
Right? Because you have legislature, judiciary, and executive.
Yeah.
So who is holding the 3 layers accountable? The fourth
Independent.
estate.
And yeah.
Independent journalism, for sure, when you are being unbiased. So all those things are so necessary still to learn as well. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. So I think you seem to be a person who has, I may be wrong, but you seem to have managed your insecurities quite well.
On the surface.
In the back of the mind, there's a lot of battles. But is there something that follows you to date, like an insecurity that follows you even now? Are we going to see another bug where...
Now I've switched to like a third career option.
Which is not a bad thing. I think sometimes we are not in this world to box ourselves. I think something I was told the other day, I was asked, okay, so what was your grandmother's name? So I said it. And then I was asked, okay, so what was she like? Do you know how she lived her life? And truthfully, you don't. You may know her in her old age. You may not know the real life that she led. And the flip side of that is your life becomes in sort of like not wiped out, but you kind of become a memory after one generation. And so if you're not going to be doing what you need to do, then you are, and you're dealing with, I'm scared of this, I need to think about this, people are saying this, then it becomes, you're not living life. You're not doing the thing that you're supposed to do, and it's not guaranteed anyway, so you should be doing. So I'm not going to frown upon anyone if you say, I'm going to do the third thing. It doesn't matter. But is there an insecurity that follows you to date? Do you have an imposter syndrome born in you, or do you always just chase?
I think that's definitely something that has been with me forever. The imposter syndrome bone, yeah.
Really? You don't come across... Does she come across as someone? No, you look at like you always... But anyway, as you said, you deal with that and then you present this.
It makes me sound like, those people who like have a mask they take.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I do that. But imposter syndrome in the sense that, like you said, do you think that people perceive you a certain way, or anybody who's on media a certain way, and then is there some kind of dissonance? You feel like, this person sees or hears one link of what I present in the morning, or they've seen one story that I've done on TV, etc. But there's so much else to me that I'm not constantly showing, right? Like in the sense that any person, when you're on air, you're embodying a certain vibe, you're talking about a certain thing, even for you guys, right? You're talking about the podcast, you're talking about this and that. So yeah, it always feels a bit, that will, I think, always be there. And when I was younger,
dissonance.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was younger, I felt like that's a problem, that I need to be somewhere that I'm feeling fully myself. But there's no job that you're actually just bringing all parts of yourself to work. Whether you're doing a 9 to 5, whether you're doing media, whether you're doing banking, whatever it is, what you're bringing to work is different. And then when you're home, you're relaxed. There's different parts of you.
Yeah.
So I think just making peace with the fact that you will not always be fully happy doing every task at work. You'll not always feel 100% resonance when you are working on an Excel sheet and thinking about how does VLOOKUP work. You're not going to be jumping for joy.
Yeah.
So it's just, as you grow older, you look back, and to me, I always think, wow, I was so naive. I really thought this was how it worked. And, you look at your younger self as like almost this older parent's kind of persona where you're like, wow, I used to be so dumb for lack of in some things. And you cherish that as well, that my naivety perhaps gave me courage, and now I know better, and now I know how to do these things. But also I will still want to have that outlook in learning new things.
Interesting.
And trying to evolve and develop for more and more. Yeah.
So what one advice you will give your younger self? If you had the power now
that's a
to
deeper,
go back,
yeah.
and then you have an alter ego, you are giving that person an advice.
Yeah.
What will you tell them?
Don't be afraid.
Okay.
When I was young, I think there were many things I was afraid to do, especially in your teenage years. And then as you approach early adulthood, you kind of have this pressure, have everything figured out, right? From high school, I need to know what I'm studying. And then when I graduate, I will only work in that. And will it make money? Kids really have so much pressure in making those decisions at that point. So I think...
But are these pressures from ourselves or from our parents? Because there was a time that we could not ask questions, especially millennials, right?
Oh, yeah.
And now our kids will ask you questions. And why is this like this? And
A lot of people even did degrees for their parents first.
Personally, yeah, I wanted to be a journalist. But I was told it's not a good career, it won't pay, you are good in maths, so you should do finance or another course. So is this pressure from the society or what's around us, or where does it come from?
Yeah, I think it comes from many places. A society, the school system as well to an extent, parental pressure could be. And yeah, that was our generation. Study finance, have your MBA. Then if you don't use it, you have a fallback. Do the smart thing. So yeah, I think it's a mixed bag of how that comes across. But this generation is very different.
Yep.
Whether it comes to standing up for things they don't agree with, they will say it. Whether it comes to pursuing things that they are interested in and passionate about and converting that into monetary gain as well down the road, they're able to do it. So I think that metamorphosis of how careers evolve has been in a positive way in this generation.
So fear has been a factor for a lot of us, I think, our generation, because we did not do a lot of things because we feared. We did not invent. Yeah, you're a failure. You did not. We feared.
And I think
failure.
A lot of times, and maybe you can talk about it if you have a point about it. But how do you know there's a difference between evolving and running away from discomfort? So there's one that's positive, the other one is, hey, this one is hard, let me change. Like the way people said, hey, I want to do pharmacy. And I know a few people who went and started, and then they were like, hey, kitu ni ngumu. So I think that also not knowing the difference between the two. I don't know whether you ever dealt with that.
Between fear and discomfort?
Like, no. Like, am I evolving or am I running away from this uncomfortable situation? Because uncomfortable situations will always be there. But how do you know if I am running away from, if I am being a wuss about it, or if this is actually evolution and I need to stop this and start doing this?
I think you can know by how fast you make the decision.
Okay.
Yeah, like how impulsively did you choose to pivot?
Okay.
So for example, I can tell you my first week on TV, I did like probably 12-hour days. Right? Because there was that 5-minute prime, there's the 3 p.m., there's all that for business. And I was so tired after that first week.
Yeah.
And, in the newsroom, it's called baptism by fire. In the deep end, swim, sink, now it's your choice. So if in that case, after a month, if I decided to just say, I can't do it, that would have been the wrong choice.
Yeah, because
But the fact that I gave it some time and I explored different facets of it,
Interesting, yeah.
then I was able to make a more informed decision at the end. And having learned a lot as well along the way and enjoyed it too. I was, I really took away so much from it. So I'm very grateful for it. But I can't, and now I don't have a regret about any of it. I don't have a regret about the timing of leaving, the timing of being there, how much time I spent in, previous jobs. I don't have any regrets about the trajectory that I chose to take. And that's key. You want to avoid having that regret because of an impulsive choice. So I would think of timing between running and, having that discomfort.
And one feels like it's devoid of pure emotion and maybe has some level of rationale applied because you went and tested and explored and did all of that. You are not just, I used to watch Everybody Hates Chris, and the mom character in it used to always quit her job every single. My husband has 2 jobs. I don't need any of this shit, and she goes. So hers is very emotional, and I guess what you're saying is, it's
Step
not,
away.
Yeah, step away. Listen to yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
So if just finish this sentence for me, and if you're telling someone, like, you are allowed to be dash.
Multi-hyphenated. You're allowed to be multi-passionate. You're allowed to be interested, curious, and in love with different things.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And when you say multi-hyphenate, does that mean do whatever you've done, you a journalist, a designer, now on radio, what would you say is the correlation? Because, for example, you can be multi-hyphenate with so many things that don't even communicate with each other. Like, they don't complement each other. You get? So how for in your case, how do you say these things work together? Connect.
Creativity. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, in a more esoteric sense, I think I'm a creative soul. So I find the expressionism of it to be very satisfying.
Okay.
Now, even I was looking for this same nexus point. What connects all these things I'm doing? And it was the fact that before, I am telling a story through my work. And now I am creating a story for someone to live in.
Okay.
Because design, what I figured, distilled it into, was that it's actually so much about a story you're telling.
Yes,
through
visual,
a thing.
Through physical, like the wood tone, the organic vibe, the lighting. Is it warm? Is it cold? How it will make someone feel. That's similar to how someone would feel when they're reading your words. So it's so much about storytelling from all angles and the creativity aspect of it. And even now, I'm still doing my radio and I'm also still doing design. And I can be consulting on these aspects in the same day, and that to me feels so fulfilling.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I guess that's one of the fears that people we when the imposter syndrome comes in and you start asking yourself, am I really good at, or am I, then you limit the way you are supposed to even research, explore, and so on and so forth. Because fixing a space like this, I can imagine, is quite intimidating.
Yeah, you walk in and
you walk in, you find it in bare walls and just rubble, and to imagine it in a way that you're saying, in a way that communicates a certain character and personality. Yes, I do get what you're saying. So creativity is your connecting
Factor.
thread. Yeah.
Were you always, and from a journalism point of view, you were always you focused on business. I've always felt like there's such an underrepresentation of the full spectrum of business locally. And sometimes I feel like a lot of the media houses are missing out because if we had a full business channel, then you would make it possible to speak about all the thousands of SMEs that exist. You'd have opportunities to speak about many other things, as opposed to limiting it to the short segment, which then limits it again to the maybe
the highlights.
top cream of the industry.
And that's a very interesting. Where do we give business news the shortest time? Like, even sports, I think the sports segment is longer than the business
Sometimes,
news.
yes.
So, yet it's a very important aspect of the community of a country, of people. In your opinion, we give highlight to bad news, accident, politics,
which is okay.
which is okay. But business, as a country is given the least amount of
I
time.
think Richard Queston, is it Richard Queston? His segment was purely business, and it was almost like he had a whole channel. Yeah, but anyway, that's the same thought or question I have. Maybe.
And it's interesting that you ask that, because even in the newsroom, the editor is asking the same question, that how can we make business news more palatable, more relatable for our viewer? And that was something we really had a question of as we were, thinking about reforming different features or getting, different kinds of business people on board and things like that. Because when you think about the time factor, business sports are given less time. And when you say, there's a very famous saying, what bleeds leads in news, because it's current, it's what's happening, it's what people need to know. So I feel like the approach that can be taken with business might be something that's like this, whereby it's you're in a more conversational way talking to an entrepreneur. It's not just about these are the numbers. You made this much money in Q4. You made this much in Q3. Let's compare year on year and quarter per quarter, this, that, and the other. So I also feel like maybe there needs to be some kind of bridge between things like what the digital conversations are and what's happening on the news and what you see. I feel like that synergy would work really well.
Yeah, because there's a lot of business
Yeah,
stories.
because sometimes the things I see on business news, for example, comparing the prices of maize
Which is the commodities.
between different markets, and to me it's not relevant. How much cabbage or potato, a sack of potato, is cost. So, like you said, yes, we need to be very realistic with the realities of life.
But sorry, just on that point to add, there's something else. When you think about who's viewing news, it's a mass audience.
Yeah.
So not every person in your audience is an entrepreneur or a CEO or an employee. It's a mixed crowd. But they will all relate to a human interest story, but they will not all relate to every business story. So I think that's also another moving piece that's a challenge. Because if I'm talking about the year-on-year earnings of, let's say, a listed insurance company, somebody who works, a 9 to 5 may not necessarily be interested in that, but somebody who works in the insurance sector will be.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis, if I'm talking to an MSME owner who is telling me the challenges they've had today are, let's say, supply of 100% wool to create, their products. Now, the CEO watching may not necessarily, of a bank, for example, may not be like, okay, relevant to them. So I think that's where the crux is, where not every aspect of business is relatable to every person in your audience, vis-a-vis human interest.
Yeah, but when you have platforms like these, it is very easy to curate
Now
the
you're a
content.
niche.
Yes,
Yeah.
the niche. Okay.
So that's why I feel there's so much potential for the niche kind of digital products like this one, whereby that this is where people come for this, or they know
Interesting.
this is what I'll find here. Yeah.
All right. I think we've explored quite a lot. And I think that business thing for me, it's a problem because I have been in business, we have been in business. We have tried, sometimes, we wish sometimes some of the stories could be told. But finding the audience sometimes is not always easy. Even if you feel you're contributing to the economy in a strong way. And I think that's where Kanja is coming from. And why are those stories not being told? But I guess, as you're saying, and I think it's again a chicken and egg situation. What feeds the other? Yes, you are serving a mass, but isn't there an opportunity to? I mean, we have a newspaper right now that only serves business content, but it's a really tiny publication where you can derive a lot of narratives and stories for, considering if you look at the percentage of people in business in the country versus, so when you look at the formal sector, a lot of the informal is also businesses. There's a lot that can be covered. And I guess that's where
they try, like in one 5-minute slot of primetime business, you might have an MSME story.
Yeah.
You might have yeah. So now again, you're really trying to pack in
Yeah.
So
all
much.
the industry's representation, but it can't always be achieved
Yeah.
in that way. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to go to a quick fire.
Okay.
And
Which one should come first? Quick fire or we reintroduce?
we reintroduce. I think we can start with that. While editing, we'll figure this out. But for the viewers watching, one of the things that we have been tasked with from the comments that we have seen is to inject some new energy into the hosting community. As you all know, we are 3 dudes, and kunanukanga magoti huku saa ingine. And we wanted to infuse some new energy here. And I think the one thing that we haven't said to you is that as we are exploring this conversation about new lives and new hats, one of the other new hats that Malika is going to be wearing is she's going to be a host of Successful Fuck Ups.
Yay.
Simupiga makofi huko nje.
Wacheni wivu.
So yes, we finally have a female.
It is ujafanya vizuri. It is with the great pleasure and honor during this auspicious occasion to introduce Malika as our co-host.
Co-host.
We have listened to you. I think we've had a lot of business people, and we know business is a very important topic. And who else is better to come and change this narrative than someone with experience of doing this? So you will be seeing
Malika more often.
And
yeah, she'll be more serious than us, but we're also trying to infuse some level of less seriousness in her. And we completely appreciate the energy she brings. So welcome, and I hope you have a fantastic
Karibu
time.
to the pod.
And if you see her in the next few shows, obviously don't start freaking out and wondering why she's here.
Yeah.
You already know.
Yeah.
That's funny. You said feminine energy, so I'm wondering that's why you guys were in
Yeah.
this color palette
Closer
today.
to my... I'm those people who can wear pink very comfortably. Comfortable with my masculinity.
That's good.
Don't care what you all say. Yeah. But
So
yes.
we go now to...
Yeah, so but
rapid
before we
quick
finish,
fire.
I think thank you so much. This episode was just to help people understand you a little bit better. I think we've spent time with you to understand your evolution, but even some things we didn't know. And I think it's good for us to explore here.
Thank you.
Maybe now she can... That's a camera.
Yes.
She can introduce herself.
Yes, before we even move. Now you can introduce yourself. Or do we do that last? Maybe we
As
should-
a team member now.
Oh,
No,
okay.
we do it last.
We can do that one last.
Okay.
I wanted to do a quick fire so that people can now finish this part of knowing you a little bit better. But obviously you'll do it. It's not anything personal. It's just,
Okay.
yeah.
And don't overthink.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yes,
Let's
yeah.
go. So what's one job you'd absolutely fail at?
Banking.
Banking.
Yeah.
Banking.
Yeah.
I thought you'd say something sports
I'm so
related.
bad with numbers. Oh my goodness, you have no idea.
I thought
I just mask it very well.
Okay. I thought you'd say something to do with sports because of our
Or
earlier
that
conversation.
too. Or that too.
Because you said you have zero bone for it.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the smell that reminds you of home?
A smell that reminds me of home, my cat. My cat smell. And some people may not find that very pleasant, but yeah.
Okay.
Do cats have smell?
There's a certain scent they have, you know?
Ile ya
Each-
butchery
or-
inakuwaga na
Or each cat has
ile
their
ya
own
butchery
unique
inakuwa na kaharufu fulani.
Okay.
Not like a bad scent or you know, that furry smell, but like each cat has this like sweet smell that is like my cat.
I am super allergic, so I never...
You're not cat people.
I struggle,
I have
but
to convert you, yeah.
I struggle, but I take some antihistamines before I visit anyone with a cat, and,
Oh,
and
wow.
we move from
You're
there.
committed.
At least I'm committed.
I am a cat person, but my first heartbreak was from my cat. She ran away and left me with a kitten.
You are a rubbish owner.
So
Let's just go with that.
on the estate, I'm like, hey,
You got a
anybody
dead
want
beat-
this squid?
You got a deadbeat mother.
Got a dead beat mother. Yeah.
You are left with kitten. Well, one of our people here has some serious pedigree cats. Wawesh has those cats that cost like
A lot.
a cow. like
Where-
100 G's worth of a cat.
Yeah.
So there are times we've gone shooting elsewhere and he's worried they're going to get out of the window. And
Oh my
things.
goodness.
Yeah.
No, we usually
Maine
take
Coons. Are
in.
they called Maine Coons or what? Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
the
one? Maine
fluffy
Coon?
ones.
Yeah. Yeah. He has a
Oh
Maine Coon.
wow! I want to see so many pictures after.
Yeah. Yeah. So one day we should shoot close to his house.
I'll be very happy.
What's your unofficial superpower?
Research, deep research.
It's unofficial. Official or unofficial?
Like I can tell you a lot of things about a person, and I know how to find out more about them, but you will not know how I found out.
That's called stalking.
Yeah, there's a word for it.
Oh God.
Which
Okay,
i- which
maybe.
i- which is,
Professional.
which is a Kenyan phrase that lives rent free in your head.
A Kenyan phrase that lives rent free in my head. Tuko sight. There's actually a lot of sites.
Kata simu, tupo site.
I think that one is related to your new
Very much, yeah.
nini, interior design business. What's the most Kenyan thing about you?
The most Kenyan thing about me is my timing.
It's terrible.
It can be better.
Oh. Yeah. So is there something that you collect that, like, without meaning to?
I'm not a hoarder per se, but I would say right now, wool. Like I'm
Wool.
learning to crochet. So a lot of like
Are
yarn.
we at midlife?
In my mind, yeah. I'm like
Is
beyond.
that why you said you feel like a 90-year-old grandma?
Yeah.
But is it just a curiosity TikTok or?
I'm very grandma core like that.
So
Like,
are you
I'm
about
interested
to
in
knit
those.
for us some Christmas scarves and?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like,
How long-
maybe.
I was reading somewhere this guy, he was I think 101 or something, and he spent his last days knitting sweaters for injured penguins.
Oh, so cute.
True story, yeah.
Should have said cats.
I can do it for the cats.
You
that,
can do it for, but I think Maine Coons are very fiery, right? Right?
Yeah, like they're super, because they can survive in very Arctic weather, I believe, for Maine Coons. So I'm not sure. But I personally believe in adopting strays and things like that. Like I'm not the person who'll go to a breeder or like that. Yeah. We've all the cats that we've had actually have been strays. Yeah.
Interesting.
And sometimes they're
So your cat,
Maybe Kate went there.
your cat now you know where it went,
oh, it landed, yeah.
and it got better treatment and it left
But
the kids there.
I'm surprised that Wawero can raise a cat. No, that guy is a senior bachelor. Sasa,
Yeah,
and I
Wawesh.
couldn't.
Wawesh has two of those things.
What do you collect? What do you collect for no apparent reason?
Teas.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, yeah, I do coffee as well.
Teas, like tea bags. So I have, like, there's this thing, I don't know which, they are doing like there are many of them in one pack. So, because sometimes you don't buy a whole pack of I don't know, strawberry. So they are doing like a combination of nini. And now I sound like I'm Baba. But
The specialty teas.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
specialty
Infuse,
those
infused,
ones, yes.
Mine is flags. So my house look like the UN.
Yeah, so that's the one.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. I think this episode, why we wanted to have it with Malika first is, again, to introduce her. But I think the other thing is we feel like a lot of us are usually stuck in this place where we give ourselves identities based on the things that we do, and we become unable to get unstuck from it. And I think that's something that, as the Africa we are heading towards, is going to demand more from us, and is going to demand not more of it could be more of what you already do, but also more of you exploring yourself and figuring out what else can you do. And it doesn't matter at what age. I think having explored with a lot of people, what I have learned is the older that people get, the more they realize they should have done something a little bit earlier. And that is something that I am battling with as well. I've refused to box myself into an identity. The other day we were introducing ourselves and someone said, "My name is X and I am an opportunist." It's supposed to sound bad, but the reality is that you go where there are opportunities. But that doesn't mean that you're just running around everywhere. There has to be a connecting factor, which is what we were exploring as well. So this is a fantastic episode if you want to just get more in touch with yourself in understanding what else am I holding myself from. And on top of that, we had a selfish thing, which was to introduce Malika, and we have done that. And so we want to subscribe, share all of these things. And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. So thank you.
And also we want to thank the viewers for the last 2 seasons. We've had very good followers. We thank you for all the people who subscribe, who share, who also give us comments and feedback on how to improve, on how to be better. So
yeah, super. Last thing, Malika, you want to now look at the camera and say, introduce yourself properly and close off the show.
Hi, I'm Malika. You can find me on the Successful F-Ups podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow. There's some feminine energy around the room as well now. We're going to bring you the latest when it comes to entrepreneurship and beyond. So stick around, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
You see what I am talking about.
yes, unaona.
One take one.
One take wonder.
All right, thank you.